The Federal Reserve chairman says he may take another whack at interest rates to help spark an election year recovery.
You must cut the capital gains tax on the people of our country.
American voters evaluate a cornerstone of President Bush's economic plan. And our Money Crunch report. Tonight, what to do when your health insurance company says no. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, Dan Rather reporting. Interest rates could be coming down again this election year. Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan said so today, and he said it as President Bush was out campaigning for re-election of the Bush-Quayle team, trying to sell the plan he says will mean a fast turnaround for the economy. Susan Spencer has our report.
Economists watch the Fed chairman like hawks these days to see if another interest rate drop is coming. The word today could be.
We are, of course, continuing to evaluate whether some additional insurance in the way of further monetary ease would be appropriate.
The problem is how to evaluate. Even Greenspan says it's tough.
But assessing the economic outlook at the present time is extraordinarily difficult.
But out on the campaign trail today, a somewhat defensive Mr. Bush didn't seem to have any trouble assessing.
And the professional pessimists tell us America has become weak and disabled, that our economy has fallen and it can't get up. Well, that is just plain bunk. It's not true.
The key, the president said, is his economic plan, brushing aside criticism that it's rife with gimmicks. He again demanded that Congress meet his March 20th deadline to pass it, and he promised jobs and growth will follow.
We won the Gulf War in 44 days. Surely Congress can pass my urgent domestic program in 52 days.
Mr. Bush invokes memories of Desert Storm frequently these days, harking back to a high point in both his presidency and his poll numbers. And Democrats are growing weary of it.
He called his plan Operation Domestic Storm. I call it Operation Domestic Sprinkle, because he sprinkles election year promises all around.
Whether it's election year politics or the only real hope for recovery, Mr. Bush's plan definitely will get its hearing. The chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee said today that he will try as hard as he can to even meet that March 20th deadline. Not, he said, because Mr. Bush says so, but because people really are in pain. Susan Spencer, CBS News, the White House.
A cornerstone of Mr. Bush's economic plan is a big cut in the capital gains tax. Because that would mean, in terms of money, benefiting mostly the wealthiest people in the country, opponents call it just another tax break for the rich. Well, how does the idea go over with voters in New Hampshire, where the primary is 2 weeks away? Richard Drelkel has checked the reaction there.
I cannot take no for an answer. You must cut the capital gains tax on the people of our country.
That line from the State of the Union speech was a big hit among Republicans in Congress, but it's not playing in Portsmouth. New Hampshire's mired in recession, and Republicans like Emily Whitney don't have any capital gains to worry about.
I don't believe that's their problem right now, not when people are going hungry.
A lot of voters aren't even sure what Mr. Bush is talking about, namely a cut from 28% to 15% on the tax you pay on profits if you sell something, like a building or some stocks. The president says that would help ordinary people like those in Portsmouth. Opponents say it's just a gimmick to help rich people like Mr. Bush, who they claim is avoiding some taxes already.
George Bush lives here, but he says he doesn't. No, the President of the United States says he lives here, in a hotel, in Texas, where there is no state income tax. And last year, he saved $25,000.
Even lifelong Republicans who know and like George Bush say when it comes to capital gains, voters don't get it.
The average guy who's got a nice house and a wife and a couple of kids, he's probably trying to figure out how he's going to make all of his payments and his health insurance and all of that. And what does a capital gains cut mean to him?
And they don't think the president gets it either.
And to me, it sounds like a loophole. It sounds like he's out of touch with a guy on the street.
There are some economists and at least one Democrat, Paul Tsongas, who think a capital gains tax cut targeted for investment isn't such a bad idea. As a campaign issue, though, it's likely to do George Bush a lot more harm than good. Here in depressed New Hampshire, he'd be a lot better off promising jobs, jobs, jobs. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, Portsmouth.
Some election year help is on the way for the long-term unemployed. Congress tonight voted final approval for a new 13-week extension of unemployment benefits. President Bush says he will sign this bill. Last year, Mr. Bush killed 2 attempts to provide additional unemployment coverage. Poll after poll indicates voters believe President Bush has not done enough about the economy and that an unnamed Democrat might win in November. Still, some higher-ups in the Democratic Party, especially those in Washington, are worrying now that perhaps none of the names in the race for them is a winner, and that time is running out to find a winner. Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer is working on this story. Bob?
Dan, John White, the former chairman of the Democratic Party, finally said aloud today what more and more Democrats have been whispering about lately, that while George Bush does look vulnerable, the current crop of Democratic candidates may be too weak to take advantage of it.
Most Democrats, congressmen, senators, and political leaders around the country are a little bit antsy and nervous about the field that we have now. They're largely unknown. Our leader and the best known of the bunch has had a so-called sex scandal erupt, adequately denied, very well handled, but it's still out there.
And if Clinton's problems persist, many pros openly worry about his electability, even if he gets the nomination.
Once someone is so tainted, and these issues will keep coming back and back and back to haunt him, that's the issue.
Despite the worries, it would be hard for others to get in the race now because filing deadlines in some of the biggest primaries, including Florida, Michigan, Illinois, and Texas, have already passed. But it is being explored.
All the basic national leaders in the Democratic Party are being talked to at this time. George Mitchell says they're talking to him. I know they're talking to Lloyd Bentsen. Gore, I'm sure they're talking to Gore. Gephardt, I know about. They're listening, but nobody's agreeing yet to do anything.
What Republicans are doing, of course, is trying to aggravate the situation, as today when the vice president issued his daily bulletin on Mario Cuomo's plans.
I'd just say, once again, for the record, I have a hunch. Mario may be the man.
What happens next may well hinge on New Hampshire. If Pat Buchanan gets a big part of the Republican vote and shows that George Bush really is as vulnerable as the Democrats now suspect, and if the Democratic frontrunner Bill Clinton has only a lackluster showing, then the betting here is that some Democrat who's not in the race now will start looking for ways to get in. Dan?
Bob, is that likely to be Mario Cuomo, or that being Washington is some other name most likely to emerge?
Dan, I think most of the pressure is going to be on Lloyd Bentsen, but I think that Dick Gephardt is also a possibility. Not much talk yet about Cuomo.
Bob Schieffer, thanks. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, the money crunch. Rank-and-file Americans up against giant health insurance companies, and a fast train from France heading for the Texas plains.
So in my interview, they told me how Dow can take all this coal and turn it into clean burning gas.
Wouldn't that cut down on acid rain?
Got it.
Sounds like one serious job, son. I just wish it wasn't so far away.
Gonna miss you, Mike.
Hey, take care of this for me.
You can make a difference in what tomorrow brings.
Son, show them what you got.
'Cause Dow lets you do great things.
When the aches and pains, the fever and chills of the flu get you, it's important to know doctors are recommending Tylenol 4 times more than aspirin for the flu. Doctors know there's more medicine in extra-strength Tylenol than regular aspirin. It's stronger relief for the aches and chills of the flu. Tylenol, the doctor's choice by 4 to 1, and the pain reliever hospitals use most.
And this winter, try new maximum strength Tylenol Cough. It's strong medicine for coughs.
The democratically elected government of Venezuela has survived an attempted military coup. Fighting broke out overnight in the capital of Caracas and 3 other cities. Rebel tanks and troops tried to storm the Venezuelan presidential palace, but were turned back by loyal forces. At least 14 people were reported killed, and 300 of the rebels were arrested. President Carlos Andrés Pérez urged support for his government. It's been under fire for an economic austerity program that has hurt many Venezuelans, including the military. In Washington, President Bush denounced the coup attempt, and I quote, as outrageous and illegal. in this country. General Dynamics gave notice to its workers in Groton, Connecticut today that 4,000 of them are likely to be laid off this year. It's because President Bush has proposed canceling $17 billion in spending on the Navy's Seawolf nuclear submarine. Holding on to a job isn't the only economic worry for many Americans. These days, even health insurance, even when you have it, it's no guarantee you'll be able to pay your medical bills. The insurance companies, in more and more cases, are refusing to pay up. What can you do about it? Ray Brady has some tips in tonight's report on the money crunch, making it in America.
She's feeling better, but Lorraine Hiskey still can't forget the excruciating pain of migraine headaches.
You get feelings of feeling very depressed and nervous, and you feel like you want to commit suicide.
$6,000 worth of medical treatments ease the pain of those headaches.
Correct.
So it's no wonder she's outraged by this letter from her medical insurer.
And they said this service cannot be covered. Your contract excludes experimental procedures.
Exercise 3, bring your arms down.
Lorraine Hiskey is only one of thousands of Americans who get a treatment that seems to work, only to be told by the insurance company, sorry, we're not paying. The treatment's experimental, or we don't think it's necessary.
Got a letter like that? Fight back. Get a written statement from your doctor, along with any articles from medical journals showing that your treatment was standard, not experimental. Send all that to your medical insurer. Believe it or not, half the time, that will work.
If that doesn't work, listen to insurance expert Bob Hunter.
If you appeal to the insurance company and it doesn't work, your next step is the insurance commissioner. If that doesn't work, your next step is the courts.
Brenda and Kirk Miller had to take that final step. High-dose chemotherapy and a bone marrow transplant put Brenda's breast cancer in remission. But Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Hampshire said the bone marrow treatment was experimental, even though the same procedure is covered in some other states. That left the Millers with medical bills of $100,000.
You know, we pay our premiums, something happens, we're given an option, a treatment, some kind of a medical treatment, and they deny you. I mean, it's a feeling of total loss of control.
But the Millers went to court, and the insurer was forced to pay. The company's appealing, but the Millers will keep fighting.
Who has the right to say, you know, and say whether I am to live or die or take a treatment that could save my life?
In most cases, according to experts, you'll win in court if you can legitimately prove that your treatment was standard, not experimental. So get in there and fight. After all, you may be fighting for your life. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
Stay here with CBS Now for more news, including the new German invasion and why so many Europeans are worried now about the Germans.
Nighttime, one of the worst times for pain. Pain that's hard to face alone. That's why you need new Ultra Strength Bengay. It's the strongest Bengay ever. For muscle pain, it's hard to ignore. Minor arthritis pain, back pain, pain that seems worse at night. New Ultra Strength Bengay with added power and a third pain reliever. Deep, penetrating warmth for fast, long-lasting relief. You can say goodnight to your pain with new Ultra Strength Bengay.
Everyone has a dream, a vision deep inside.
When I decide to follow up on an investing idea, I need a broker who's ready when I am.
We make it easier to follow your own lead.
I can call Schwab at any hour, nights or weekends, get the information I need, even place an order to trade.
Always there to give you just the help you need.
Help yourself at Schwab today.
I need a laxative that can work dependably.
Doxidan can.
But can it be gentle?
Doxidan can. Doxidan works dependably overnight with a special ingredient for gentle relief.
Dependable? Yes.
Gentle? Yes.
Doxidan can.
Flu epidemic declared. Entire U.S. affected. What will you do? Doctors recommend TheraFlu, hot liquid medicine that works fast. TheraFlu, strong therapy for flu symptoms.
Who killed JFK? Was it the Cubans? The mob? The CIA? 48 Hours reports the facts. You decide. Wednesday.
In what's getting to be a habit for top Japanese officials, the Prime Minister today reversed course and began trying to play down his latest bashing of U.S. workers. Prime Minister Miyazawa backed away in Parliament from his comment yesterday that Americans seem to have lost their work ethic and become lazy. Miyazawa said that he was only discussing his own economic philosophy and was not actually referring to American workers. Americans, understandably, are keeping a watchful, worrying eye on the Japanese, but in Europe, people are saying, think about Germany. It's the big new economic threat, and with some reason. Case in point, Czechoslovakia. Peter Van Sant reports.
Germans celebrating the good times, reveling in their new status as the economic powerhouse of Europe. But this isn't Berlin, it's Prague, Czechoslovakia, a country worried that its mighty German neighbor is swallowing up the Czech economy.
The Prague will be full of Germans because they got money and they got power. So, I don't like it.
Germany is buying up Czechoslovakia's industrial jewels, like this truck plant. Many believe that Germany is accomplishing more with its economic might than Hitler did with his Panzer divisions.
Mercedes-Benz will soon take charge of the two largest Czech truck factories. And Volkswagen now controls the Skoda car plant, Czechoslovakia's only car factory. German giant Siemens has taken over the largest industrial company in Czechoslovakia, which produces nuclear power plants and distributes the country's electricity. 400 more German buyouts are in the works, targeting the heart of Czechoslovakia's industry. The attraction? Cheap labor. It's not good, this worker says. Our companies will likely disappear. The Germans will run this country. In 1938, Nazi troops occupied the Sudetenland, a largely German-speaking region of Czechoslovakia. Today, some Germans want their old homes back. In the village of Ratnici, some Czechs have received death threats in the mail.
You lying Czech pig. We'll settle the account with you. Sudetenland is German and will be ours. We'll come back.
They threatened our neighbor, this village woman says, that they'll send her to the gas chamber. Most Czechs realize they have no choice but to welcome this new German invasion. High unemployment makes it impossible for the government to say no, even if the price is economic surrender. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, Prague.
Coming up next, Eye on America. Tonight, outrage over alleged price gouging by pharmaceutical companies.
Oh no, my hair's not only going gray, now it's getting thinner. I wish they made something for gray, thinning hair.
They have Grecian Plus. Grecian Plus is a fresh-smelling foam that gradually brings back natural-looking color, the famous Grecian way. But this Grecian has a big plus. It builds body for healthier, fuller-looking hair.
Your hair looks great. Feels thicker, too.
Grecian Plus, the total treatment for gray, thinning hair.
So I'm in the grocery store, and this really good-looking guy smiles at me and says,
Hi.
Hi. Kellogg's Bread Flakes?
Oh, well, these aren't mine. My folks are visiting.
He didn't have to be embarrassed. I love Kellogg's Bran Flakes. They have this nutty, toasted wheat taste that is really great. Anyway, I grab a box of Kellogg's Bran Flakes and say, gee, that's too bad. I was going to compliment your good taste.
The toasted taste of Kellogg's Bran Flakes.
They're not what you expect.
Ask Angela Lansbury about aspirin-free Bufferin AF Nighttime.
Angela, what's this? Bufferin AF Nighttime? Yes, it's from the makers of Bufferin, for when you feel achy at night and you're having trouble getting to sleep. It's for both problems? Uh-huh. Bufferin AF Nighttime should really help. You see, it's a maximum-strength aspirin-free pain reliever plus a gentle non-prescription ingredient to help you get to sleep.
Bufferin AF Nighttime helps put pain and you to sleep.
I'm Mark McEwen.
And I'm Harry Smith. Are you a heartbeat away from heart disease?
Find out if you're at risk tomorrow on CBS This Morning. It's breakfast for your head.
Imagine this. You're dying and you want to take a drug that might make a difference, but the drug you want could cost more than $20,000 a year. You just can't afford it. That's a problem for thousands of Americans right now, with the U.S. government and every American taxpayer caught in the middle. Health correspondent Edie Magnus reports tonight's Eye on America.
We're dying from your high prices! We're dying! Cut the price now! Cut the price now! Astra's killing people!
Tensions between AIDS activists and the Astra Pharmaceutical Company recently erupted in confrontation. At dawn, protesters staged a demonstration at the company's U.S. headquarters, blocking the entrances, charging Astra is price gouging people with AIDS.
I'm dying of AIDS, and this is all they can do for me!
The dispute is over Foscavir, an intravenous treatment approved last fall for AIDS patients who developed CMV retinitis, an eye infection which eventually blinds them. At $58 a day, $21,000 a year, Astra's Foscavir is by far the most expensive AIDS drug on the market.
My $58 bottle.
Charles Barber says he's already paying thousands of dollars each month for drugs, doctors, lab tests, nursing services, just trying to stay alive. He has insurance, but he'll soon reach the lifetime cap on his medical benefits.
And with this drug, Foscavir, at $21,000 a year, it will happen even faster. And then I'll be forced onto Medicaid. Can Medicaid afford that? Are they going to pay for this drug?
AIDS groups say thousands of patients like Barber may be forced onto public assistance to pay for Foscavir. And they point out the tax-paying public has already spent quite a bit of money on this drug. The U.S. government poured millions into studying it.
Taxpayers paid for it in research and development, paid for it in reviewing the drug quickly through the Food and Drug Administration, and now it's going to be paying for it through Medicaid and through drug purchase assistance programs. And all the while, the Astra Pharmaceutical Company will be making a profit.
Not so, says Astra. Before it can make a profit, the drug company must recover $100 million it says it spent on research and development of Foscavir over the past 14 years.
When you're dealing with an expensive drug development program with only a use in a very small patient population, obviously the cost to the individual has to be very high.
The activist movement has proven before it won't take high prices sitting down. Burroughs welcome drew intense outrage when in 1987 it introduced the AIDS medication AZT at $10,000 a year. Under pressure, the company twice lowered the price.
We fully realize that we need profit as incentive to have these drugs developed. But profiteering is another thing, and this company is engaged in gross profiteering.
We have always said that if our figures are shown to be incorrect, the price will be altered accordingly.
Legislators are looking into Foscavir, too, demanding an independent audit of Astra's development costs. They say failure to reduce the price of Foscavir may just provoke Congress into regulating drug prices.
It's abusive, it's exorbitant, it's unjustified. And people start literally dying, going blind, because they could not pay for this drug. I think there's going to be a reaction.
Now for 2 hours, I'm tied up.
For Charles Barber, that reaction can't come too soon. His money is running out, and inevitably, so is his eyesight.
I've bumped into my furniture enough already that I'm learning where it is by the bruises on my legs.
Activists predict this scene will be repeated as people with AIDS and other life-threatening illnesses, desperate for affordable medication, collide with drug companies concerned about their bottom line. The Foscavir controversy, they say, is a sign of further confrontations to come. Edie Magnus, CBS News, Westboro, Massachusetts.
If this were a perfect world, we'd all be driving expensive cars and living on beachfront property. But in the real world, you have to eat. Well, you can eat tuna once in a while. And you have to buy stuff like socks and shoes and CDs. Well, maybe not so many CDs. Fortunately, the people at Isuzu have to buy stuff too. That's why they created the Rodeo, a four-wheel drive vehicle you can afford, and why they'll give you a great deal on a sound system and air conditioning. So now, you can buy more stuff. Oh, we forgot to mention taxes.
Did you know? The cost of 2 business calls from these Detroit mechanics to Atlanta may surprise you.
Vintage cars are my specialty.
With AT&T Long Distance, your small business can get AT&T quality at extremely competitive prices.
I treat cars like people.
Even though the other company would like you to believe.
See ya.
ya.
They'd always save you lots of money.
That's all I save? Drives you crazy, doesn't it?
Competitive price. Another AT&T advantage.
A cold always starts small, but before you know it, your cold is full grown. That's when you need Dimetap. If it was any stronger, you'd need a prescription. Dimetap Extend tabs work for 12 full hours. It's the way to relieve the congestion and sneezing of a full-grown cold. Maximum strength Dimetap Extend tabs. Relief for the full-grown cold. And for colds and flu with fever, now there's Dimetap Cold and Flu.
Recently, DuPont announced that its energy unit Conoco would pioneer the use of new double-hulled oil tankers in order to safeguard the environment. The response has been overwhelmingly positive. DuPont, better things for better living.
Over the years, America's had many famous fast trains. The Wabash Cannonball, the 20th Century Limited, the Orange Blossom Special, and the old Sam Houston Zephyr. Now, a new fast train may be heading for our country. Bill McLaughlin got on board.
The little engine that could has grown up, acquired a French accent, and become the giant that can't be caught. It's France's Train de Grande Vitesse, the TGV, the fastest thing on wheels and rails in the world. Its 320 miles an hour is still the record to beat. 200 an hour is its daily cruising speed. The TGV has captured France's heart along with its passengers, the sort of thing they write poetry about.
Accomplissement du monde moderne.
It's about to begin its greatest adventure. Last month, officials in Texas signed an agreement to build and operate the TGV in the Lone Star State. Deadline, New Year's Eve, 1998. When France's very fast train gets deep in the heart of Texas, that old, low-tech American iron horse is going to have to make way for that new, high-tech French thoroughbred. The Texas TGV will be a 622-mile network linking Houston, Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio. A project that could break the back of the recession in Texas. The TGV needs only a crew of 2 to carry more than 500 passengers without any of the high anxiety and nail-biting stress of airports and airplanes. It's got room for stretching, strolling, even to play in. It may be the kind of dream that gives airlines nightmares, but the TGV's backers see their very fast train one day linking cities of America like these. For all those U.S. defense contractors looking for ways to pick up some Cold War dividends, the TGV could be their way back to the future. Bill McLaughlin, CBS News, on board the very fast train.
320 miles an hour, part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
On your money.
Eye on your children.
On the environment.
Eye on crime.
Eye on America.
Only on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
This is CBS.
Next on the TV8 News, live at 6, Senate Majority Leader Bill Hutchins reversing course on accepting money from his campaign fund. Steve Oswald with details.
And how do you make ends meet after college graduation? I'm Jill Lingwa. I'll tell you coming up in a live report.
Also tonight, special children getting a taste of skating at the Des Moines Ice Arena. Michelle Parker with that story.
Connie with a warmer forecast and Heidi with Cyclone basketball. TV8 News is next.
Jack is cooking Eggs Benedict for Mary on their honeymoon.
Nothing.
How romantic.
Where's the switch for the, ow?
Honey? Pity they don't know about Perkins, for not only does Perkins serve a classic Eggs Benedict, but a host of other varieties as well. Eggs Benedict at Perkins.
Honey, isn't hollandaise sauce supposed to be yellow? Not that I mind. Rena's very creative.
Here you planted your soybeans in some pretty trashy field, mister.
Like conservation tillage? You're going to get a lot of grasses and weeds. No, I put down Prowl herbicide.
What about later, huh? Broadleaves and the scapes.
Yeah. I'll post-apply Pursuit. Oh. Look, Prowl followed by Pursuit is perfect for conservation tillage. Well, you guys really don't know much about this. Do you?
Get the most powerful sequential for conservation tillage. Prowl and Pursuit.
Veal Parmesan, one of the new Ultimate 200s from Weight Watchers.
Thank you for watching KCCI, TV8 in Des Moines. And now from TV8, Iowa's news leader, Paul Rhodes, Kevin Cooney, Connie McBurney with weather, and Heidi Soliday Sports. This is TV8 News, live at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Senate Majority Leader Bill Hutchins took swift action today to end the allegations that he has acted unethically.
The senator says he will repay $13,000 that he took from his campaign fund last summer to repay for a van that he already owned. New laws prevent such transfers, but they were legal when he made them. Today, the Majority Leader promised to repay the money, but said he will stay on in his leadership position. TV8's Steve Oswald has been following the story, joins us live now from the newsroom with more. Steve?
Well, Paul Hutchins took his case before his peers today, the 29 Democratic members of the Senate, the same group that placed him in his leadership position. After a very long discussion among the members, Hutchins agreed to return some of the money, but not step down from leadership. In a nearly 3-hour closed-door session, Majority Leader Hutchins sat next to his accuser, Ethics Chair Senator Gene Lloyd Jones. Lloyd Jones started it by asking him to step down from leadership because he had spent $20,000 of his campaign money on himself. That money included $13,000 he paid to himself for a van he already owned. Hutchins maintained the money was for the van's mileage expenses. After 3 hours of cigarettes, coffee, and dialogue, he told the full Senate he had done nothing wrong but wanted to erase any appearance of wrongdoing.
I have told the Senate Democrats that I am going to reimburse my campaign fund for the dollars that I transferred on the van.
He said he wouldn't pay back the other $7,000 because it was for unquestioned mileage expenses.
Senator Hutchins has indicated that he can document the mileage that he's traveled, and so I don't think that will be a lingering question.
We would like to see that documentation.
I think it puts out the most immediate brush fire we got, but you don't know how cohesive that caucus is, and they're still charged with finding 26 votes to pass a bill in here.
The members of the caucus expressed their feelings very clearly, that they felt that it was very important that he either pay the money back or step down.
I don't feel I violated any law. I'm purely trying to present a situation that improves the image of the Senate.
Did he do this under pressure? It's fairly obvious that he did.
I would say so, yes.
Hutchins had asked for a vote of confidence from the Democratic caucus today, but no such vote was taken. Senator Lloyd Jones says it took 3 hours to convince Hutchins to repay the money, but Hutchins says that's not true, that they were discussing other matters. Paul?
Thank you, Steve. In other news, an early morning fire sent workers out into the streets at the U.S. West building in downtown Des Moines today. The fire breaking out just before dawn on the 7th floor, which is under reconstruction. Phone company employees escaped unharmed. The fire was doused quickly, but there was concern about a release of asbestos, so employees were kept off floors 3 through 15. Some were moved to other locations, but about 225 workers simply stayed home. U.S. West employees unsure about where to report to work for tomorrow should call this number, 286-6727, 286-6727. U.S. West officials say the fire did not disrupt phone service.
One of the biggest model airplane shows in the world is on its way to a permanent home in Ankeny. Organizers of the Ida Grove Air Show announced today they have accepted an offer from a Greater Des Moines group to put on the yearly air show at the new Ankeny Airport. The Ida Grove extravaganza regularly drew 50 to 60,000 spectators during its annual 4-day show. Air show officials say they want to move because the show has outgrown the town of Ida Grove. The model air show is expected to be an economic boon for central Iowa. TVH's Todd Mega will have more on the story tonight at 10.
In Clarinda today, school officials and townspeople have been hard at work trying to clean up their high school. Now, as we showed you last night at 10, vandals broke into the school sometime Sunday night and caused $100,000 in damage. Offices were trashed, sinks ripped from the walls, chemicals spilled in labs. Superintendent said damage was everywhere.
Damage by a blunt instrument to computers, video camera equipment, television monitors, a lot of glass inside and outside.
Workers are going to be spending the night cleaning up the high school, and classes will resume tomorrow in Clarinda. Still no suspects in the case, however. The vandals apparently made their getaway in a missing driver's education car.
Federal investigators were on the scene of yesterday's fatal plane crash today. The crash of an experimental plane killed 61-year-old pilot Ray Bristow of Urbandale. Autopsy results for Bristow will not be available for at least a week. It's believed he died on impact. The FAA says it may be some time before a cause of the crash is known.
In Washington, D.C. today, Iowa pork meets inner-city children and helps feed the hungry. TV8's Ann Wheeler reports now on the lessons that were learned over lunch today.
Can you tell me what a piggy says? What does a piggy say?
At daycare today, they're learning about pigs and tractors. Harold Trask, president of the pork producers, is telling these inner-city children about something they have never seen. He's showing pictures of his farm in Renwick.
That's my farm. That's my pickup. Right there.
For these children, a farm is a different world, and they're curious.
How do you get the bacon from the pig?
We take the pigs to a factory, and the workers in the factory get the bacon from the pig.
For them, the pictures are a feast for the mind.
How about that? Does that look good?
And there's a feast for the body. The pork producers are also serving lunch. Not only is this daycare center getting a hot meal, the producers have donated 2 tons of pork for Washington's food bank, where meat is a rare item.
We see a need for all classes of people, all incomes of people, diversity, and so we thought we'd try to help out in this way.
Russ Sanders of Des Moines hopes the children get something today in addition to a hot meal.
We like to think they learn a little bit about where their food comes from, and that's a growing challenge for modern agriculture as more and more people grow up away from the farms.
Lunch is a big hit.
It's good.
And they've almost gotten the message.
What did you learn about pigs today?
I'm gonna touch them.
Do you like pigs?
Yeah.
You ate a pig today.
No, I didn't.
As they nod into dreamland, who knows? Maybe today they're counting pigs instead of sheep. Ann Wheeler, TV8 News, Washington.
Good news. Connie McBurney says warmer air is on its way back to Iowa.
Well, it is and it isn't. You know, yesterday we have to remember it was a day of record highs. Right now the figures we're looking at are some very small numbers, and they represent the current wind chills. There is a warming trend ahead. We have to wait a little bit for it, though. A cold night ahead. But part of the forecast is good. That's later on in the news.
And coming up next in the TV8 News, making ends meet after graduating from college. Jill Lingwall with a live special report.
And Michelle Parker with a good time on the ice for some special youngsters when we come back.
Working to be #1.
The styles, the models, the choice. The 92 Chevrolets at Carl Chevrolet Geo. The power, the selection, the right size 1992 Chevy truck for the right job. The fun, the economy, the looks of Geo for 92. The inventory, the price. At your dealer for Chevrolet cars and trucks.
Ankeny, exit 90 off I-35. Carl Chevrolet Geo. It's a private moment, an expression of love. A time when only the best is good enough. Superior product perfected by skilled craftsmen forging your statement of devotion. And now save 10 to 35% and more during our pre-Memorial Day sale. The sale ends March 1st, so order now for Memorial Day delivery from Iowa's only granite finishing facility. Since 1878, Des Moines Winterset Monuments and Atlantic Memorials.
Arizona? That's just endless desert. If you knew Arizona. Wasteland. If you knew Arizona. Won't
more. Kofi! If you knew.
Arizona. If you knew it, you'd do it. Remember when Grandma used to make his flaky pies made from scratch? Grab a fork, down the hatch. Pork that Mom could never match. See that pork roast, Mom? Breakfast with real fried potatoes. Put some more on the table. Soup so rich it filled the ladle. Rich and thick. Everyone loves to be well-fed. Susie, Jack, and little Ted. So do it now at the Iowa Machine Shed.
Tonight's Making Ends Meet report is brought to you by KCCI TV and Norwest Bank, Iowa.
The recession has created job insecurity for thousands of workers, of course, and college seniors who are getting ready to enter the job market are feeling the pinch, too. TV8's Jill Lingwall standing by live at Drake University with tonight's Making Ends Meet report. Jill?
Well, Kevin, that's right. I am here at Drake, where each year more than 1,000 students graduate, most of them hoping to enter the job market. Now, tonight you'll meet Andrea Tegmeyer, and she, like most college seniors, is worried about her financial future in these uncertain economic times. Andrea Tegmeyer of Humboldt is a senior honor student involved in all kinds of campus activities at Drake University. But these days, Andrea, who's a business major, says she's spending more time checking out job possibilities at the Career Center than she is checking out books at the library.
Hi. Have a seat. So far, I've had some help on my resume with the Career Center.
Include those items that you think will have a bearing on the position that you're applying for.
College seniors like Andrea are acutely aware that many of their friends who graduated last year still don't have jobs. Many of them are victims of the recession. Companies say they just aren't able to hire entry-level positions right now.
It's kind of a roller coaster. You think, well, you know, getting a job shouldn't be that hard, but with the recession and the way jobs are really looking right now, it's difficult.
Andrea says the reality of the tight job market has made her rethink some of her career goals.
The perfect job I may have in mind may not be out there. You know, the job market isn't the best right now. Whatever I can get, I'm going to have to take.
Andrea's college loans are right at the national average. She'll have over $10,000 to pay back when she gets out. She says she wonders how she'll do that and buy a car and face the other expenses she'll have living on her own for the first time.
Actually, it's pretty scary.
Andrea says sometimes the stress of trying to find a job while trying to keep her academic performance up to par can be really tough.
I'm trying to be positive about everything and knowing that at least that I do have, you know, work right now, and my parents are a great support to me, that, you know, right now I'm okay, and I'm just hoping that, you know, thinking for the best, hoping for the best.
Now, tonight at 10, Andrea will sit down with a financial planner who'll give her some important information. She'll tell her how to avoid dangerous credit card traps, how she can plan for major purchases like cars and furniture, how and when she should pay back her college loans, and how she can start building for a financial future from the first day she starts her job. Kevin?
All right, Jill, a lot of questions to be answered there. We'll look for that tonight at 10. Tomorrow night at 6 and 10, TV8's Sarah Jarvis will focus on a retired couple. Retirement has its own special problems when it comes to making ends meet. By the way, if you'd like a free brochure on Making Ends Meet, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Making Ends Meet, Des Moines, 50301, or you can pick one up at any Norwest Bank office.
There's a new place to spend your dollars in the Des Moines area. A new Walmart officially opened its doors today in Windsor Heights, the second Walmart in the Des Moines area. The event was organized something like a pep rally as new employees chanted the company name. Walmart is now the nation's largest retail chain. This newest store has more than 100,000 square feet, and like other discount stores, will be open 7 days a week.
Well, a trip to the ice skating rink can be a fun and exciting time for young children, and for some Des Moines mentally and physically handicapped youngsters, it's also a challenging visit. TV8's Michelle Parker has more.
Just shoes. Hang on to the railing. Okay, now let loose of me.
This is the first time on the ice for many of these disabled students from Ruby Van Meter School in Des Moines. And what instructor Judy Bear wants to do is give them confidence.
The important thing is to teach them that they can do, okay? They can do what anybody else can do, if they have the help.
Brandy Sickler went skating for the first time with a little help from her friends. Brandy wasn't quite sure whether she liked it or not. How you been doing? Some students took tiny, tentative steps. Others were more sure of themselves.
It's neat for me. It's a little bit cold in here, but I like it a little bit. I'm a little bit scared.
Members of the Des Moines Buccaneers hockey team were there to give the students a helping hand, and their